The safety class in the 2023 NFL Draft isn't quite up to par with classes we've seen the previous years, but one guy is trying to change that and really separate himself as the top guy in the class. That is Alabama safety Brian Branch. What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Jake Shavank here, and in this video, we're going to dive in head first for a DB that's definitely curried some favor, I would say, over the last several weeks. He's gotten the hype of being the consensus top safety, and definitely is. But now we're going to dive in and see if he is really worth like a top 10, top 15 pick, where some of the mocks have him going, right? There's some projection involved, and we'll get to that. But let's dive in and look at junior, 6', 193 safety, Brian Branch. Off to the film. Brian Branch played a majority of his snaps, 74% to be exact, in the slot and star role for Alabama. On some occasions, motion would shift Branch to the back end of the defense, where he'd often sit in a two-high shell. On rarer occasions, Alabama would sit in three high safeties and let Branch use his closing speed to drop into windows to potentially make plays. When it comes to the traits with Brian Branch, it's all there. He's a really sound tackler in space, having only missed 4 tackles in his career at Bama. When he comes downhill to make tackles, he's often controlled and measured in his approach and is always looking to wrap up to limit yardage after the catch. Against LSU here, you see him do a great job squaring up against Jayden Daniels in the read option to potentially limit a big play. In the bowl game against Kansas State, he did just that against Deuce Vaughn as well, one of the more explosive backs in the country, flying downhill but still measured in making plays in the backfield. He's also no problem sticking his nose in the run game, setting a strong edge, and wrapping up bigger backs like Roschon Johnson here. You see him shed off the tackle and make a strong play in the backfield. Here, him and Will Anderson disrupt an option play with impressive closing speed and wrap-up ability. You see the first step explosion and the long strides accelerating to close in the backfield to make plays. You see it all around tape, and he's a strong finisher at times, often turning into an enforcer when he's in the box or near the line of scrimmage. Here, against LSU, you see him peel off his guy in coverage to potentially limit a first down with a big hit. In coverage, we see the same type of awesome traits with Branch. From off coverage, he's really good at closing space in a mere seconds and disrupting plays at the catch point, a PBU machine. Here against Kansas State, great processing ability, reading the quarterback's eyes, and making a play on the football for an interception. Against Mississippi State here, he recognizes a corner route's coming and is able to dip underneath the route for a good PBU. His linear speed is pretty good, and he does a great job carrying receivers up the seam when necessary. Here against Mississippi, does a great job staying in the receiver's hip pocket, turning quickly, finding the football, and breaking up the pass. In zone coverage, he opens up well, is recognizing when receivers are entering his area, always does a great job staying on the quarterback's eyes and making plays. He can limit stuff in the quick game with good speed. Here against LSU, does a great job avoiding a potential rub route situation and picks up the corner route against the tight end, no problem. As a blitzer, Brian Branch is a nightmare. When he can close with the speed that he can, sacks are often on the table, and he can jump into quick passing game throwing lanes and disrupt them at the source. Against LSU, you see a great job of him sticking with it and making a pass breakup, causing an incomplete pass. Here, against Mississippi State, when he's given the opportunity and pass protection is rough, he knows he can wrap up well and create sacks when given that opportunity. In pass pro against running backs, they're no match for his closing speed, the momentum he can generate, and the power he has. Just another element of disruption and creating an uncomfortable pocket for a quarterback. The hustle plays are what separates Branch from other defensive backs. Even when he's taken outside of a play, he works back to the football and wraps up. Here against Arkansas, you'll see him close from depth, get a little too far, but work back and limit an explosive play. Same here against Texas A&M. Blitzing from the backside, he's able to track down the quarterback. He does the dirty work as well here against Texas, taking on 2 would-be blockers to let his teammate make a play. All right, so not everything is perfect with Brian Branch, especially when he's operating in the slot, and that's kind of why you see the projection for him to the roof of a defense, where you see those flashes of processing skills happen. So a few reps here where you can kind of see why that would potentially not work out at the NFL level. Little jab step by the Texas receiver here freezes him enough. And while he's got good linear speed, it's not great. And you'll see these more explosive slots take advantage of him there, like Texas did. Again, in the slot here against Jalin Hyatt. This is a tough rep. It's a tough ask, no doubt about it, from off coverage. But you have to know that against a speedy threat like Hyatt, there's not a lot of room behind you in the end zone here. So to be able to not close this space fast enough and recognize that, okay, I've got help with the end zone as an extra defender. I get that he's just not trusting his speed here, but you have to be able to be aggressive and attack from off coverage. Here against Kayshon Boutte is the same thing where he's scared of Boutte's speed down the field, Boutte's great acceleration, but he needs to be able to close quicker on this. Luckily, Daniels went another place, but this could have been a really big play by Boutte if he went that direction. Other times when he's in man coverage here, and again against Boutte, you see him panic a little bit, trying to find the football in situations like this where he's not carrying guys vertically and he's trusting himself in the hip pocket. He gets in a little bit of islands like this, and you see him grab a little bit before the ball arrives. That's going to be a penalty every time. And he does get grabby sometimes when you're in off coverage against catch technique. This, though, shows you why the projection is there for a deep half, quarters, cover six. Like he can be that really good processor. There's a lot of commotion going on in this play. We've got pre-snap motion coming across. Branch realizes, okay, he's passing that off. He realizes that right as the snap comes in. Okay, so now we got crosser. So he's opening up like he often does, looking, okay, finding my guy. He's coming across. Okay, ref's in the way. Got to feel that out. Now two offensive playmakers getting into this window here to this side of the field. Branch is able to, keep his eyes here to look at this tight end, who may need a little bit of assistance with Toa in coverage. But again, quarterback's going to try and make a play over the top of him, but watch him close with speed there. That throw is not available to him. So that's kind of a look at like why, okay, projection to the roof makes sense, because in all of that commotion, he did a great job, okay, passing off. I know my responsibility, somebody coming back into my zone. So is Brian Branch the best defensive back in the 2023 NFL Draft? Probably not, but his place as consensus top safety makes a lot of sense. There's still obviously a lot of projection with him to the roof of a defense to play in that high shell, but with how he feels as a run defender and how well he can process the game in front of him, I think that role is still suited for him, and that's why I think he can be a very good player in that role at the next level. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video on Brian Branch. If you did, drop a like, subscribe if you're new. Plenty more 2020 the NFL Draft prospect profiles and film rooms coming very soon. I will catch you guys, though, in the next video. Farewell.